To give you some data points, there are 80 billion square feet of non-commercial buildings in America. This is outside of homes. And they all need to be retrofitted. Unfortunately, even the brand new ones will need to be retrofitted soon because technology is changing and energy costs are rising, and we'll eventually have to pay the cost of the externalities that come with producing electricity in America. 70% of all the electricity we produce in America goes into these buildings, and 50% of it is wasted. So slow down for a second. These are numbers you've been hearing. Think about all of the electricity we produce in America, and think about 70% of it going to buildings, and think about knowing that half of it is wasted. The benefits of acting on this not only is about saving money, not only about reducing greenhouse gases, not only about creating hundreds and hundreds of thousands of jobs, it's also about the bottom line and our future competitiveness as a country. And these numbers are not things that I have read about. These are the things that we have been doing for the last 50 years. So I don't hypothecate that you can save half the energy in buildings that are consumed today through revenue neutral programs. I know this because we've been doing it. In our business over the last 10 years, we have done $1 billion worth of energy retrofit business. We are a small business in Seattle that has gotten bigger, but $1 billion worth of projects for our customers, and our customers are enjoying the savings created from that every day going forward. And as prices go up, they enjoy it even more. In the last 7 years, our energy business has grown 100x. Okay? So we're a private company, and we don't have any external stakeholders other than our staff, our customers, and our communities. But I can tell you that growing 100x in 7 years is good work. And we are just tipping into what's really possible. And I want to also make a point that's a little bit tangential. You know, the stimulus program, the ARA funding that has come out, in many cases has gone in some really great directions and has started some things rolling in the economy. And I think, you know, my comment on that would be well done. It's helped, but it's not enough. And the reason that my company continues to grow is a little bit about the stimulus and a lot about our diversity and a lot about our propensity to take action in the face of opportunities. We have kept our union staff working and growing. I was telling Charlie this morning, our sheet metal shop is working 2 shifts to keep up with the demand. We have kept our professional staff busy, and we have kept our training programs going, and those folks are all continuing to pay taxes and keep the economy moving. But I can tell you that no one in the audience today, I think, believes that the federal well is something we can draw on forever. As Mayor Nutter said, of course we need to continue to influence where the funds at the federal level go, and we're here to work on that this week. But we also need to be thinking about what we're going to do in addition to that, and what we're going to do about the significant unemployment in the building trades area that will not be solved by stimulus funding. And in keeping with our focus on education, as you know, we think that the first and best place to start in retrofits is in schools. We have an opportunity to create better and safer, healthier learning environments. We also can leave behind teaching tools that create living laboratories in our schools about the way kids should live their life, about how technology can help lower their footprint on the earth. And since we are a proud Northwest company, I want to talk about an example that can be done locally that we worked on in the state of Washington today. And in fact, at this exact hour, Governor Gregoire is signing an unprecedented bill into law in the state of Washington that is going to move $600 million in funding into retrofitting schools in the K-12 system in the state of Washington. So, you know, your union members, your environmental affiliations, your progressive business coalitions have worked in Washington with folks from my company and many others over the last year tirelessly to advocate for this in our capital, to put the structure in place, and to ensure that the funds invested will deliver returns. And in particular, you know, the notion that we can put this up against the issue of underfunded schools and resource-poor districts and a widening achievement gap in many of our schools, but at the same time knowing that skilled carpenters and architects and plumbers and pipe fitters and sheet metal workers and electricians are sitting on the sidelines waiting for an opportunity to make a difference not only for their families but for the environment in retrofitting. It's really time for action. And we're much more focused on the commercial side. We're not sure that weatherization is really the pathway back for our skilled trade folks in terms of residential weatherization, although we think it's important. Our focus is on the commercial side. And the Washington model is really about a quadruple bottom line. It's about folks back to work. It's about better learning environments. And importantly, it's about the income stream created from that savings going back into the classrooms for the next 20 years. We think this is the kind of leadership that coalitions between business and labor and environmental groups should be delivering in every state across the country. Now, our economy is growing and shifting. It's evolving, and I've already told you that I am a very, very proud union employer and partner. And I think it's really up to us to get off the sidelines and figure out what we're going to do together to take hold of and innovate in a green, clean economy going forward. And I think it starts with a collective appreciation that we need to do things differently. And I want to give you an example, an old example, again, one that Charlie and I worked on more than a decade ago. And it's not about a green, clean strategy, but it's about collaboration between business and labor that's focused on helping customers succeed, but creating opportunities for our folks. One of the things that happened in our great city of Seattle is as we got bigger, our union skilled crafts folks and our contractors worked on ever bigger, more exciting projects. And when we weren't paying attention, the built environment was suffering, and most of the service work in our town was done non-union and not well. And we decided that as a group, we were going to do something differently on that. So we worked with the sheet metal workers and the plumbers and pipe fitters in our area. We formed a partnership. We set about to understand the market. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how hard it was, but I can tell you that today, a little more than 10 years later, my company has 200 union service mechanics working in the Puget Sound Basin where I live, doing service and optimization work in buildings, and 4 times that in the union sector in my competitors, for 1,000 union workers taking care of buildings in the Puget Sound Basin based on a collaborative strategy. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we had to decide that together it was a market that we wanted, that we could make a living in, that our union members would be able to earn a living in, and that they would be proud of doing, that it made sense for us, and that we could add value to the clients, that we could bring our skills and our management capabilities and our resources in a way that made our proposition better. And it was hard. We needed to change jurisdictional view of things. We needed to change work rules. We needed to look at different sorts of craft tiering approaches. And most importantly, we needed to understand the customer, what they wanted, what they would pay for, and what sort of strategies would get them to understand how we would bring quality to their facilities and how we would lower their costs in the long term. And I can tell you it was not easy. It wasn't easy to plan. It wasn't easy to convince the union members that it was going to be good for them. But we knew it was important, and we stayed at it, and we won. And it takes that sort of addressing a market, addressing an opportunity, and bringing together a coalition of business and labor environment focused on what the customer needs and what they will pay for if we're going to create jobs. So with that example, I also want to then look forward to, what are the things that I think as a business person in this industry that we need to focus on. First, we need to understand what customers need, what they want, what they'll pay for, and we need to educate them on how important this can be for their long-term competitiveness, for the value of their asset. Second, we need to advocate for policies that inform we need to advocate for policies on retrofits that support our scaling of this business. We need a national energy policy. It may be hard to get, may have to work locally first. We need to have the opportunity for energy efficiency to be the equivalent of renewables. I'm a huge fan of renewables. We have a renewable business at my company doing wind and solar and biomass work. But right now we need our utilities to know that if we can save a kilowatt hour cheaper than we can generate a kilowatt hour, we're going to do that first. Third, We need to invent, contribute, and in some cases fund financing strategies and tools that